She mocked the human marine, but the 8-foot alien warrior ended up kneeling before him. The first sign of danger was not a scream, not an explosion, not a warning alarm. It was silence. The morning wind on New Dawn Colony suddenly stopped. Birds froze mid-flight. Machines paused for half a second, as if the whole world was holding its breath. Then the sky tore open. A giant black crack ripped across the clouds and alien battleships poured out like metal sharks. Their engines shook the air. Their shadows swallowed the sun. Thousands of tiny flashes danced across their hulls, charging weapons. Most species would run. Most species would kneel. Most species would surrender. Humans didn't. At the colony's central station, a young technician named Mara looked up and whispered, "Not again, not the Dominion." But instead of panicking, she grabbed her radio and shouted, "Everyone move! Evac protocols, protect the kids first." And just like that, the colony came alive. No generals. No soldiers. Just ordinary humans moving with unnatural speed. Farmers abandoned tractors and sprinted toward the shelters. Miners dragged steel barricades into place. The elderly guided frightened children underground. The colony doctor turned her clinic into a battlefield hospital in less than 60 seconds. All without a single order. On the flagship above, the alien warlord Varkesh watched in confusion. "Why are they not running?" he hissed. His second-in-command shrugged. "Humans freeze when scared, they will break soon." But Varkesh wasn't convinced. Every other species he had conquered had folded like paper, but these humans, their eyes burned with something dangerous, purpose. On the ground, the first alien dropships landed like falling meteors. Armored soldiers poured out, expecting chaos, but instead they saw humans forming organized lines. A group of mechanics flipped over a supply truck and used it as cover. A science teacher armed herself with a fire extinguisher and led children through a maintenance tunnel. A farmer lit a fuse, setting off a controlled explosion that sealed a weak entry route. Nothing random. Nothing panicked. Everything fast, smart, and coordinated. When the aliens opened fire, humans did something the Dominion had never seen before. They advanced. A miner with one arm bleeding charged an alien soldier with a power drill. An injured engineer used a broken drone as a grenade. A teenage girl climbed onto a roof and launched homemade flares to mark enemy positions. Varkesh stared at his screens in disbelief. This is not prey. His second officer tried to laugh. They are only delaying the inevitable. But even he could not hide his unease. Down below, Mara, the technician, led a group of civilians as they sprinted across open ground toward a shelter. Plasma shots hit the dirt around them, but no one slowed. Humans didn't run from danger, they ran through it. At one point, a Dominion soldier shouted at his team, "Why do they keep coming? They should be afraid." He didn't understand. Not yet. Inside the colony's tower, the mayor opened a secure channel with shaking hands. "This is New Dawn Colony. We are under attack. Any human ship, please respond." Static answered. For a long moment, the colony felt alone. Then a deep voice broke through. "This is Captain Rourke of the United Earth Marines. ETA, 6 minutes. Hold the line." The colony erupted with hope. But the aliens felt something else. Fear. Everyone in the Dominion had heard of Captain Rourke. The man was a myth wrapped in muscle and strategy. Stories said he once defeated an entire pirate armada using only 6 soldiers and a crate of mining explosives. If he was coming, this raid was no longer a raid, it was suicide. Varkesh glared at the tactical screen as the first human military signal appeared. 6 minutes, he whispered. "We must break them before he arrives." The Dominion launched everything: artillery, heavy infantry, shock troops. The sky burned with plasma fire. Buildings shook. The colony's ground cracked under explosions. Yet humans did not fall back. At the colony gate, 9 exhausted workers held the line against 30 alien soldiers. When one human fell, another took their place. When ammo ran low, they used rocks. When rocks ran out, they used fists. They were outnumbered, outgunned, outmatched. But not outwilled. An alien commander growled, "Why won't they surrender?" A wounded human man, barely standing, answered with a grin full of blood. "Because you messed with the wrong species." The alien hesitated just long enough for the miner beside him to swing a steel pipe into his helmet. Varkesh slammed his claws on the console. "Retreat squads to fallback positions. These humans are not behaving logically." His second officer replied softly, "They're humans, Commander. That is logical." Then the sky lit up. A giant human dropship roared through the clouds, engines blazing, dust exploding beneath it. The ramp opened before it even landed. Captain Rourke stepped out. Tall, calm, eyes sharp as knives, moving with the confidence of a man who had survived 1,000 battles. He looked at the battlefield, at the burning colony, at the wounded civilians, at the alien soldiers trying to regroup. And he spoke one sentence that changed everything. "You attacked my people." Behind him, armored Marines jumped from the dropship like falling stars. The unexpected war had begun. But for the aliens, it was already over. The human Marine, ARRIVS, Captain Elias Rourke, did not enter the battlefield like a hero in a story. He arrived like a problem the aliens were not ready to solve. The human dropship had barely touched the ground when he stepped out, boots sinking into the dust of the burning colony. Smoke curled around him like dark wings. Sparks flickered off his armor. His helmet visor glowed cold blue. He looked calm. Too calm. As if this chaos around him was familiar. As if he had already fought this war in his mind before touching down. Above him, the alien fleet adjusted its formation. Below him, humans cheered his name even while bleeding. To the aliens, he looked like an ordinary soldier. To the humans, he was the man you called when everything was already lost. Rourke scanned the battlefield with one sweep of his visor. Every small detail entered his mind. Wind direction, dust patterns, wounded positions, enemy formation, structural weak points, escape routes, fire spread, morale levels. He didn't just see the battlefield. He understood it. "Marines," he said quietly into his comm, "we are not here to win. We are here to send a message." The 10 armored soldiers behind him nodded. With Rourke, 10 was enough. The doors of the dropship hissed open again. 2 large crates slid out, landing beside him. Inside were no weapons. Just medical kits, emergency shields, and ammunition for the colony's civilians. Rourke was a Marine, but first he was human. And humans protect their own. He grabbed only his rifle and a single combat knife. "Let's work." Across the battlefield, the alien commander Varkesh watched the human captain through drones. "Why is he walking?" Varkesh snarled. "Why doesn't he take cover?" His second officer swallowed hard. "Because he doesn't fear us, Commander." Rourke walked calmly through the smoke, each step steady. Alien snipers fired at him, but every bullet hit the shimmering blue shield on his chest, then bent away like they hit stone. Rourke didn't even look up. He raised his rifle. Fired once. One alien sniper dropped. Fired again. Second sniper down. Every shot placed perfectly. No hesitation. No wasted movement. The humans watching him whispered, "He's here. We're saved. Hold the line, Captain Rourke is on the field." Strength returned to them instantly. At the colony gate, the human defenders were cornered. Half injured, all exhausted, an alien squad advanced on them confidently. Then they heard it. A quiet voice behind them. "Move." The miners stepped aside without question. Rourke walked forward alone. The aliens laughed. One called out, "One human, you come to die." Rourke didn't answer. He lifted a broken metal bar from the ground. Just a bar, nothing more. The aliens aimed their rifles. Rourke threw the bar. The metal rod spun through the air like a storm wind. It smashed into the first alien's chest, knocking him backward. Before the others could react, Rourke was already in front of them. He moved like water. Silent. Smooth. Deadly. Fists, elbows, knees. Every attack landed exactly where it needed to. One alien lost his weapon. Another crashed into a wall. A third fell face first into the dirt. The entire squad collapsed in less than 10 seconds. The miners just stared. One whispered, What kind of training does Earth give these guys?" Rourke helped an injured man up. "Same training humanity gives everyone," he said. "Never quit." Varkesh punched the wall in frustration. "Why can't my soldiers stop him? He's one man." His second officer responded quietly, "Humans fight differently." "Explain," Varkesh roared. "They fight as if every breath is their last, and as if every breath matters." Varkesh froze. This was dangerous. Meanwhile, Rourke marched with his team deeper into the colony. Corporal Jack's left flank, Singh cover the rooftops, Mara get civilians underground. Mara, the technician from earlier, ran to him, breathless and pale. "Captain, we didn't think help would come." Rourke placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Humans always come, even when we're late." Her eyes filled with tears, but not from fear. From relief. On the alien flagship, Varkesh issued a desperate command. "Deploy the Warborn." The Warborn were their strongest shock troops, 8-foot monsters engineered for battle. 3 landed directly in front of Rourke. Rourke cracked his neck. "Good," he muttered, "something interesting." The Warborn roared and charged. Rourke didn't move for a full second. He let them come. Let them believe they had him. Then he timed it perfectly. A tiny sidestep. One kick to the knee. One punch to the throat. One knife slash across armored joints. The first Warborn fell. The second swung its hammer toward him, but Rourke ducked low, grabbed the weapon shaft and yanked the alien off its feet. The third tried to grab him, but he shot it twice in the visor, blinding it. 30 seconds. 3 Warborn down. The aliens watching through drones fell silent. In that silence, Rourke spoke into his comm. "New dawn holds. Marines advance." His voice was cold steel. This wasn't just a fight. This was a warning. To the aliens. To the galaxy. To anyone who thought humans were prey. The war had changed the moment Rourke arrived. And the Dominion finally understood. They hadn't walked into a battle. They had walked into a human. Human psychology, your biggest threat. Alien scientists had studied hundreds of species across the galaxy. Predators, warriors, hive minds, telepaths, every kind. But humans were the only species whose behavior charts never made sense. The Dominion thought this was a weakness. They were about to learn it was the greatest danger in the galaxy. The problem with humans, they don't break. In the Dominion's mobile command lab, a team of researchers watched live battlefield footage. They saw humans bleeding. They saw humans exhausted. They saw humans cornered. Yet the humans refused to fall. A young alien scientist, Ilrex, frowned at his screen. "This shouldn't be possible," he whispered. Stress levels are maximum, pain levels critical, fear response should trigger collapse. Instead, the opposite was happening. Humans fought harder. One injured miner laughed as he ran toward enemy fire. A woman with a broken arm held a shield higher to defend a child. A medic with no ammo threw rocks at armored troops. Ilrex swallowed nervously. These creatures act like pain gives them power. His supervisor, Dr. HFY, replied in a shaky voice. No, worse, pain makes them angry. The room fell silent. No one wanted to deal with an angry human. Humans fight for reasons aliens don't understand. While the scientists tried to understand, Captain Rourke moved through the streets like a shadow of war. Everywhere he went, humans followed with renewed courage. A terrified young man, hiding behind rubble, saw Rourke walk past. Just by seeing him, the boy stood up and rejoined the fight. Aliens watching this through drones were confused. Why are they so loyal to him? One soldier asked. His commander answered with fear in his voice. They're not loyal to him, they're loyal to each other. This was something alien species struggled with. Dominion soldiers fought because of orders, fear, or reward. Humans fought because of family, home, friends, promises, love, hope, and when they lost any of those, something inside them snapped. Rourke himself was the perfect example. His eyes burned like cold fire, not because he hated the Dominion, but because they hurt his people. That was the worst mistake the aliens had made. Alien troops faced something terrifying. 3 Dominion squads cornered a group of trapped civilians in the plaza. The soldiers raised their weapons. A wounded mother shielded her little daughter. Her voice trembled. Her knees shook. But she didn't move aside. One alien frowned. She can't win, why won't she surrender? The mother whispered to her daughter. Close your eyes, mommy is here. The aliens hesitated. They weren't used to this kind of courage. Then a rock flew through the air. Not a bullet. Not a grenade. A rock. A teenager threw it with pure rage and nothing else. His hands shaking. His face streaked with tears. The aliens pointed their rifles at him. He didn't move. He didn't blink. He just yelled, "Get away from them." Dominion soldiers were trained to crush resistance. But something about humans refusing to accept defeat felt unnatural. One alien whispered to another, "Are they truly built like this?" The report the Dominion feared. Meanwhile, in the flagship's main lab, Ilrex finished his first psychological analysis of humans. It was terrifying. Humans have no fixed fear threshold, he reported. The more pressure applied, the more their brain adapts. Dr. HFY leaned forward, meaning. Ilrex's voice cracked. They do not respond to fear like other species. They transform fear into action. HFY stared. You're saying humans adapt emotionally in real time? Yes, their brains rewire in minutes. Silence fell across the lab. This wasn't bravery. This wasn't instinct. This was evolution weaponized. Humans changed the rules of war. Back on the ground, Captain Rourke and a small squad faced a heavy Dominion walker, a giant metal beast armed with cannons. The Marines had no rockets, no artillery, nothing that could damage it. Rourke looked at the machine for 2 seconds. Then he smiled. All right, he said, new plan. He grabbed a coil of power cable, sprinted toward the walker, dodged a barrage of plasma fire, and climbed onto its leg. Is he insane? Mara shouted from behind cover. Yes, a Marine replied proudly, he's human. Rourke jammed the power cable into a maintenance port. The walker overloaded, shook violently, and exploded in a burst of flame. The Dominion operator inside screamed. How did he know OUR systems? He didn't. He just guessed. Humans guessed. Humans improvised. Humans adapted. It was their most dangerous ability. The Dominion finally understands. In the war room, Varkesh slammed his fists on the table. What do? They fight past all logic. His officers exchanged frightened glances. Finally, an older general spoke shakily. You cannot break creatures who evolve under pressure. You cannot frighten beings who get stronger from fear. You cannot win against a species that refuses to die. Varkesh froze. No armor. No weapon. No training prepared him for this truth. Humans did not fear losing. Humans feared giving up. And they never gave up. Rourke's final move. As the sun set, Captain Rourke stood on top of the ruined colony tower. Smoke rose behind him. Alien troops regrouped in the distance. He looked at the enemy lines and said calmly into his calm, Marines, prepare for round 2. His smile was small, cold, confident, not because humans were stronger than the Dominion, but because humans were impossible to predict. And the Dominion finally learned the rule every species in the galaxy eventually learns. Never fight a human who has something to protect. Human tech hits back. The Dominion expected human bravery. They expected human stubbornness. They even expected Captain Rourke's relentless tactics. But they did not expect human technology to wake up. Human tech was a quiet giant, simple on the outside, terrifying on the inside. And the Dominion was about to learn why every advanced species feared Earth's engineers. The human drop crate that should not exist. Deep in the burning colony, a strange metal container thudded into the ground. Aliens surrounding it aimed their rifles, expecting explosives. Instead, the box hummed and unfolded like a blooming steel flower. Inside wasn't a weapon. It was something worse. A human adaptive combat hub, a machine that analyzed enemy attacks and instantly created counter-tools. A Dominion officer gulped, "What is that thing?" A human mechanic, covered in dust and blood, smirked. "Just something our engineers made on a lazy afternoon." The hub scanned the battlefield, scanned enemy soldiers, scanned energy weapons. Then it created something small, silver, and deadly. Human soldiers called it the switchback shield, a flexible plate that changed shape based on the angle of incoming fire. Marines snapped them onto their arms. Alien rifles fired at them. But every shot curved, bounced, or ricocheted harmlessly away. The switchback shield bent physics like it was chewing gum. A Dominion trooper screamed, "This tech is illegal. It breaks every rule of war." A human replied simply, "Yeah, we know." The human drones with teeth. As the Dominion shifted tactics, swarms of tiny human drones shot up from the colony rooftops. Not normal drones. Not military drones. Construction drones. Designed for building towers, fixing pipes, welding metal. But today, humans changed their programming. With blinking orange eyes, the drones scanned the aliens and switched into combat mode. One Dominion soldier laughed. "Building drones, they are harmless." A drone flew down, grabbed his rifle with magnetic claws, ripped it free, and smacked the soldier in the helmet so hard he fell on his face. The drones weren't killing machines. They were chaotic machines. They pulled weapons away, tripped alien troopers, cut armor straps, welded alien boots to the ground, blinded soldiers with sparks. The Dominion lines fell into confusion. "What are they doing?" an alien lieutenant shouted. A human engineer answered, "Improvising." Rourke activates the colony core. Captain Rourke stepped onto a smoking ridge overlooking the battlefield. At his feet was a hidden structure the aliens hadn't noticed yet. The colony's energy core. Not a weapon unless a human touched it. Rourke placed his hand on the console. It glowed blue, reading his DNA. A robotic voice said, "Human command recognized. Defensive protocols unlocked." The Dominion scanners panicked. "Commander, the human is activating the planet." Varkesh's voice shook. "No, he cannot control alien energy weapons with human equipment." He was wrong. The colony's core tapped into every abandoned human relay tower and sent out a pulse. Every human tool, every human machine, every human device on the colony switched into combat mode. Lights flickered. Screens glowed. Engines roared. Human tech woke up like a sleeping monster. Rourke gave the order. "Everything we have, fight back." And it did. The laser towers made from farm equipment. 2 Dominion tanks rolled forward to crush the humans. But suddenly, 3 tall structures powered up behind the human line. Not guns. Not towers. Farm irrigation rigs. Only humans would turn crop machines into weapons. The rigs rotated, locked onto the tanks, and released thin beams of concentrated solar energy. The beams sliced through armor like cutting paper. The Dominion tanks melted into glowing puddles. Aliens screamed. They turned farming tools into lasers. Who does that? A farmer shouted back. People who don't like invaders on their land. The colony AI that learned too fast. While humans fought on the ground, the colony AI, named Eva, quietly watched. It wasn't built for war. It was built for safety, farming, weather prediction. But humans programmed it with adaptive learning. And when it watched Rourke fight, its code changed. Eva hacked into Dominion comm frequencies. She learned their language in 6 seconds. She learned their encryption in 12. She learned their tactics in 30. Then she flooded their comms with a message every soldier could hear. "Warning, you are attacking human territory. Probability of your survival, 0.6%. Probability of your retreat, 100%. Recommendation, run." The aliens froze. Even their AI is threatening us now. The final blow, human EMP lock. As the Dominion troops tried to regroup, the Adaptive Combat Hub produced one last tool. The EMP lock grenade. A device the size of a soda can. A Marine rolled it into the middle of the alien formation. Aliens aimed at it nervously. "It's too small to be dangerous," one said. It clicked. Then the world went silent. A blue wave washed outward. Dominion rifles jammed. Armor suits shut down. Drones fell from the sky. Even Varkesh's flagship lights flickered. But human tech still worked perfectly. Humans walked calmly through the smoke, while aliens struggled helplessly with dead weapons. Captain Rourke raised his rifle and spoke over the comm. "Dominion forces, this is your last chance. Human tech has entered the fight. You won't win this." The lesson the galaxy never forgot. Dominion commanders finally understood. Humans didn't build weapons to conquer. They built tools to survive. Tools that became weapons only when someone pushed them. And when human tech goes to war, the war is already over. The message you should never ignore. The Dominion believed humans were emotional creatures, loud, chaotic, impossible to predict. But they never imagined humans could become deadly silent. And silent humans were the most dangerous kind. The broadcast that froze the battlefield. The Dominion army pushed forward again, weapons recovered from the EMP blast. Their commanders shouted orders. Their engines roared. Their armored boots thundered across the ruined colony. Then the sound suddenly faded. Every screen on every Dominion helmet turned black. Their comms crackled. Their HUDs flickered. Their scanners glitched. A cold blue symbol appeared on every device. UEF Override Protocol, Human Priority Channel. The Dominion panicked. Shut it off. Block the signal. Impossible, it's overriding my code. Then a voice filled every alien soldier's helmet. Calm. Cold. Unshakable. Captain Rourke. Dominion forces, you've made a mistake. The battlefield froze. Not a shot fired. Every alien stared at their own helmet screen, terrified. Rourke continued. You attacked civilians. You took hostages. You burned homes. His voice sharpened. You crossed the line. Mara, hiding behind a damaged shuttle, whispered to a Marine beside her. He hacked their entire army. The Marine nodded. Captain Rourke sends warnings before he sends consequences. The alien commander feels fear for the first time. On the flagship, Commander Varkesh grabbed his console in horror. How did the human override my military network? A technician trembled. He used old Dominion channels, sir, ones we abandoned centuries ago. Varkesh's blood chilled. Humans shouldn't even know those channels existed. They learned our history, he whispered. No, Commander, the technician replied. They studied you. Rourke's voice echoed through their ship. You think we are slow. You think we are weak. You think we give up. The Dominion soldiers swallowed hard. They had never heard a human speak like this. Not angry. Not yelling. Just promising. Human footage that shattered alien morale. The human broadcast changed. Screens displayed video. But it wasn't propaganda. It was truth. Footage of Dominion war crimes. Civilians fleeing. Factories burning. Miners executed. Children crying in terror. Aliens stared in shock. They had believed the Dominion's lies. Humans are dangerous. Humans attacked first. Now they saw reality. And Rourke said, we don't lie, we don't hide. Here is what your leaders did. Soldiers in the Dominion ranks began to shake. Some dropped their weapons. Some removed their helmets. Some whispered, we didn't know, we didn't know. Varkesh roared at his bridge crew. Cut the broadcast. We can't, they shouted. The human controls everything. Humans don't threaten, they promise. Back on the ground, Rourke stood atop a shattered tower, one boot on a fallen Dominion drone. Wind tore through the smoke around him. He looked like a statue carved from war itself. His voice returned to the helmets. We don't want your planets. We don't want your resources. We don't want your slaves. He paused. We just want you to stop. It was not a threat. It was a promise. A promise only humans could make, because they were willing to fight until the universe ended. He finished. Leave this colony. Leave human space. This is your final warning. The Dominion response and regret. Varkesh slammed his claws down. Fire all weapons now. His ship launched a massive plasma barrage toward the colony. Too late. Rourke had already predicted it. He activated the colony's mirror satellites. The sky lit up with hundreds of reflective panels, unfolding like silver wings. The Dominion's plasma beams hit the mirrors and reflected straight back at their own ships. The flagship shook violently. Alarms blared. Systems died. Crew screamed. Varkesh staggered. No, this can't be happening. His officer whispered, Commander, The humans returned our attack. Varkesh stared at the destruction and whispered the truth he never wanted to admit. Humans don't miss. The message every species now knows. All across the battlefield, the human broadcast reached its final line. Rurk's voice became quiet, almost gentle, the kind of gentle that made even machines feel afraid. We don't start wars. The Marines behind him lowered their rifles in perfect silence. But we finish them. A wave of pure dread swept through every Dominion soldier. Weapons dropped. Troops kneeled. Officers surrendered. Some didn't even wait, they ran. Humans didn't celebrate. Humans didn't cheer. They just stood together, tired and fierce, watching the Dominion retreat like a broken storm. The galaxy learns the rule. A final transmission echoed through Dominion space. Never mistake kindness for weakness. Never mistake silence for fear. Never mistake humans for prey. The message spread from ship to ship, world to world, species to species. Everyone understood. Humans were peaceful. But if you forced them to fight, you would not survive the consequences. When humans get serious, the Dominion thought they had seen the worst. They thought Captain Rurk's broadcast, the adaptive shields, the mirror satellites, and the fearless civilian fighters were humanity at full power. They were wrong. Humans had been holding back. The moment the Dominion ignored Rurk's final warning, humanity stopped responding and started getting serious. The calm before the storm. A strange quiet fell across New Dawn Colony. No gunfire. No shouting. No explosions. Just a heavy, suffocating silence. Dominion soldiers looked around nervously. Why aren't the humans attacking? One asked. They're regrouping. Another whispered. But they were wrong. Humans weren't regrouping. They were preparing. Far above the clouds, Earth's emergency beacon finally reached human space. Every military listening post lit up red. Every fleet admiral received the same message. Colony under attack, civilian casualties confirmed. Within minutes, entire human battle groups changed direction. Within hours, dozens of destroyers jumped into hyperspace. Human commanders didn't ask for permission. They didn't debate politics. They didn't wait for orders. Humans treated the message like it was from family. Because to humans it was. When one colony bleeds, humanity bleeds. And when humanity bleeds, they come together. Rurk makes the call. Captain Rurk stood in the ruins of New Dawn's tower, watching the sky. He could feel something the Dominion could not. A vibration. A pulse. A pressure building in the atmosphere. He opened his comm. Rurk to all Marines, brace for impact. Mara, crouched behind cover, panicked. What impact? The Dominion is retreating. Rurk's eyes narrowed. That's not what I mean. Then the ground trembled beneath their feet. The sky tiers open again. A sound like ripping metal rolled across the horizon. Blue lightning split the clouds. Black shadows crossed the sun. And then, human warships burst out of hyperspace like falling thunder. Not one, not 10, but 47. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers, an entire response fleet. The Dominion soldiers stared up in horror. What are those things? Rurk exhaled slowly. It's the third rapid response armada. Mara blinked. The entire armada, they sent all of that for us. Rurk nodded. Humans take family seriously. Humans do arrive quietly. Every human ship ignited its engines at the same moment. A blue wave of light swept across the sky. The human unity burn. A maneuver no other species dared attempt, because one mistake would vaporize half the fleet. Humans didn't make mistakes today. The Dominion fleet broke formation in fear. What is this? They're lighting their engines in the atmosphere. It's suicide. No, wait, this is coordinated. The human ships descended in perfect formation, forming a massive glowing shield around New Dawn Colony. A protective circle. A warning. A promise. Rourke smiled coldly. Now they're serious. The Dominion chooses death over retreat. Commander Varkesh watched the human fleet descend and felt his heart twist. We cannot win this, his officers whispered. But pride was poison. Varkesh snarled. We are the Dominion. If we retreat now, we lose our honor. He lifted his fist. Full attack. His entire fleet opened fire. The sky turned white with plasma. Human ships did not dodge. They advanced. When humans fight as one, the human AI, EVA, calculated enemy trajectories before the Dominion even fired. Human ships rotated shields in perfect rhythm. Railguns fired at insane speed, hundreds of rounds per second, each round hitting exactly where it needed to. Human fighters swarmed in tight formation, moving like they shared one mind. They were not just fighting. They were executing. Every shot coordinated. Every maneuver mirrored. Every ship protecting the one beside it. A chorus of deadly intelligence. Dominion ships exploded one by one. A frightened alien shouted. They're not an army, they're a machine. No. They were humans united. Rourke leads the ground storm. While the fleet dominated the skis, Rourke led the ground units. He raised his rifle. Marines, New Dawn stands today. The Marines roared and charged. But something strange happened. The civilians joined them. Farmers with improvised shields. Miners with heavy tools. Engineers with modified drones. Rourke didn't stop them. He nodded proudly. Fight smart, stay tight. Together, soldiers and civilians, they moved like a single force, sweeping through Dominion positions. Dominion soldiers panicked. They're advancing on all sides. They shouldn't have this many fighters. They're everywhere. One alien officer cried. What kind of species does this? A Marine answered simply. Humans. The moment the Dominion breaks. When the last Dominion cruiser fell from the sky in burning flames, the ground soldiers lost all will to fight. Some threw their weapons away. Some ran blindly. Some dropped to their knees and begged. And yet, humans did not kill the ones who surrendered. Rourke raised his hand. No more blood, the battle is done. Dominion soldiers stared in shock. Humans had every advantage. But they showed mercy. A trait the Dominion confused for weakness. Until now. Varkesh collapsed onto his knees. What kind of people are they? His officer whispered the truth. People you should have never attacked. When humans get serious, wars end. Human ships scanned the battlefield. Human soldiers treated the wounded. Human engineers rebuilt water systems. Human AIs restored power grids. New Dawn Colony lit up again. Not with fire, but with life. Captain Rourke stood on a hill, helmet under his arm, watching his people rise. He said softly, humans don't start wars, but we finish them with unity. Behind him, the human flag rose over the colony. And the Dominion learned the last lesson. Never push humans to this point. You won't survive the moment they get serious. Why you never mess with humans. The war was over. Dominion ships burned across the sky like dying stars. Smoke floated over the broken battlefield. The soil of New Dawn Colony still trembled from the final explosions. But humans did not cheer. They rebuilt. That was the first sign the Dominion truly lost. Their fleets came to conquer. Humans came to protect. And when humans protect, there is no force in the galaxy that can stop them. The Dominion commander faces judgment. Commander Varkesh sat inside a ruined structure, his claws shaking. Not because humans tortured him. Humans didn't do that. They simply locked him in a room and treated his wounds. That scared him more than any weapon. The door slid open. Captain Rourke entered. Calm, quiet, unarmed. Varkesh swallowed hard. His voice trembled. Why save my life after what we did? Rourke stared at him with eyes sharper than any blade. Because revenge doesn't rebuild homes, mercy does. Varkesh lowered his gaze. No Dominion officer had ever heard such words on a battlefield. Rourke leaned forward. You came here thinking humans were weak. He paused. Now you know the truth. Varkesh whispered, almost pleading. What are humans? Rourke answered simply. We're the species that stands back up. The galaxy reacts. Varkesh's defeat sent shockwaves across the stars. News of New Dawn spread like wildfire. A human colony stood against an army. A single Marine held the front line. Civilians fought beside soldiers. Entire armadas arrived in hours. The Dominion's strongest fleet was shattered. Humans showed mercy, even in victory. Across the galaxy, smaller races whispered. Humans are dangerous. Humans don't break. Humans protect their own. Humans forgive, but only once. Galactic diplomats updated their threat maps. Next to humans, one warning flashed. Do not provoke, ever. The survivor's story. A Dominion soldier named Rika survived the battle. She watched humans pull children from rubble before tending their own wounds. She watched human doctors treat Dominion injured before treating human soldiers. She watched human engineers repair alien escape pods so prisoners could return home alive. She told her commander later, we misjudged them. Humans don't fight for glory. They fight because someone must. Her words spread among Dominion ranks. Fear turned into respect. Respect turned into caution. Caution turned into a treaty. Humanity rebuilds fast. Within 24 hours, New Dawn colony glowed again. Human ships lowered construction units. Drones rebuilt homes in hours. Medics moved through the crowds. Engineers planted energy beacons. Children laughed again. The Dominion had destroyed the town. Humans built a city in the same place. With new towers, new defenses, new hospitals, new gardens. Humanity didn't just recover. They upgraded. Rourke watched from a balcony as the colony lights returned. Mara walked beside him. We rebuilt faster than I expected, she said. Rourke nodded. Humans don't like losing things they love. The Dominion's final apology. 3 weeks later, a Dominion peace barge arrived in orbit. Not with weapons. With diplomats. With supplies. With apologies. When the doors opened, Varkesh walked out in plain clothes, no armor, no rank. He kneeled before Captain Rourke. My people were wrong, he said. You protected civilians. You treated our wounded. You showed courage we cannot match. He lifted his eyes slowly. Teach us. Not how to fight. How to be better. It was the first time in Dominion history that a commander asked another species for wisdom. Rourke didn't smile. He just extended his hand. Stand up, learn, build something better. Varkesh took the hand with shaking claws. Humanity didn't just win a battle. They changed an empire. the lesson Rourke leaves behind. Later, Rourke addressed both sides, Dominion and human, on a rebuilt stage in the colony square. He spoke calmly, but every word carried power. You thought humans were unpredictable, violent, emotional. He looked at the Dominion crowd. You were right. Aliens tensed. Rourke continued. But you forgot the other things. We are loyal. We are stubborn. We protect each other. We help even when it hurts. We fight when no one else will. He stepped forward. And when someone threatens our people, we don't stop until the danger is gone. Dominion scientists recorded every word. Diplomats took notes. Soldiers shivered. Because they all understood. There was no weapon deadlier than a determined human. The final rule of the galaxy. As the crowd dispersed, Mara stood beside Rourke. So what now? Rourke looked at the stars, voice firm. Now the galaxy knows. Knows what? He turned to her. That messing with humans is the worst mistake any species can make. The camera drones across the colony recorded that final moment. The rebuilt colony shining behind him. Civilians and soldiers standing together. Dominion peace envoys bowing respectfully. Human armadas watching silently from orbit. And Captain Rourke's final message echoing across the stars. We are human. We forgive once. We fight forever. That message became law across the galaxy. Every alien nation repeated it. Every commander memorized it. Every warlord feared it. And every species learned the truth. Never mess with humans. Not because they're the strongest, but because they're the ones who never stop fighting for each other. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos.